Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Both sides are digging in and ramping up the rhetoric. President-elect Biden lashing out at President Trump over something he should be getting but isn't. Ben?
Records today, rain and rumbles tonight, and it's back to reality tomorrow. A lot to pack into 24 hours. We'll run it down for you coming up.
And the grandmother says it all just came to a head. Brand new information into a fight between neighbors that ended with a toddler being shot.
But let's begin with the coronavirus. And the state reporting a single-day record number of new cases. 6,473 people have tested positive over the past 24 hours. And along with that, 84 more Michiganders, including 25 from a review of past vital records, have been lost to coronavirus. Also today, the state's positivity rate, which is the percentage of tests that are coming back positive, is now above 14%.
And that's the highest that number has been since April, but there were far fewer tests at that time, too. Also today, Governor Whitmer had an urgent warning while sharing some good news about a vaccine candidate that's being made right here in Michigan. Paula Tutman has that part of the story.
As the COVID numbers rise in Michigan and hospital beds filling up, today the ray of hope is that Pfizer Pharmaceutical believes it will start distributing vaccine as early as December. And today, Governor Gretchen Whitmer was proud of the role Michigan is playing.
Nearly 8 months after the first cases of COVID-19 were discovered in Michigan, Pfizer announced that an early analysis showed that their vaccine is 90% effective. This is great news. Michigan has always been on the forefront of innovation. We have a strong history of vaccine development with polio and anthrax vaccines. And we're thrilled to see Pfizer, a Michigan business and one of the largest pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities in the world, will manufacture that vaccine right here in our great state.
But she urges that we not let our guard down. By order of the health department, there is still a mask mandate. But with out-and-out non-compliance, as well as COVID fatigue, and people finding their own way to continue their lives with COVID, she gave a dire warning.
We got to remember that when it is ready, it will take some time to manufacture, to scale, to distribute. And that's why we need everyone across our state to keep doing their part to protect each other from COVID-19. My administration is working on developing equitable vaccine allocation plans and process so that we provide the vaccine in a priority system that makes sense to the most vulnerable and at-risk populations, working, of course, with the CDC.
As of yesterday, with 9,051 new reported cases, bringing the statewide total to 136,000 cases, the governor ditched the term social distance to the more accurate and desperately needed term, physical distance.
This news does not mean that we can drop our guard now and relax or loosen restrictions. It's more important than ever that we double down on wearing a mask, physical distancing, washing our hands, especially as we gear up for what is going to be a challenging winter. It's crucial that we keep our infection rate low so that we can distribute the vaccine as quickly as possible when it is ready.
And it's important to note that the governor believes the worst is yet to come. I mean, we're coming up on holiday season, and that is the time of togetherness. Coming up at 6 o'clock, she actually talks about her Thanksgiving plans and why she's asking people for suggestions to share on ways to stay physically distant while still being together, guys.
Okay, Paula, thank you. And as we watch a steady increase in COVID cases and hospitalizations, there's some positive news in the search for treatments.
Eli Lilly has been granted an emergency use authorization for its monoclonal antibody therapy, similar to the drug by Regeneron used to treat President Trump. Dr. Frank George joins us now with just who might benefit most from this. Frank?
Yeah, Kim and Devin. So I'll get to that in a second, but I want to start with something kind of interesting. So never mind the advanced technology that went into producing artificial antibodies against a new virus. What actually has Twitter going was its tongue twister of a name. It's spelled BAMLANIVIMAB, and that's pronounced Bamlanivimab. And 3,000 doses are on their way to treat people right here in Michigan. Eli Lilly's monoclonal antibody treatment for COVID-19 has been granted an FDA emergency use authorization for treating mild to moderate COVID-19 in non-hospitalized high-risk COVID-19 patients. This decision was based on a study of the drug published in the New England Journal of Medicine that found it could decrease the need for hospitalization in high-risk patients from 10% in those who received placebo to 3% in those who received a single dose of the drug. Notably, this drug is not indicated for hospitalized patients or those who require oxygen. It is only considered beneficial if given early in a person's illness. High risk is defined as having any of the following: a body mass index over 35, which is obese, chronic kidney disease, diabetes, immune suppression, or age over 65. Certain people over 55 and between 12 and 17 years old are also eligible to receive the drug if they have other specific risk factors. Bamlanivimab is an artificially produced antibody that neutralizes the spike protein on the SARS-CoV-2 virus. It's given as a single dose through an IV. The most significant potential side effect is an allergic reaction, which can be severe. As part of Operation Warp Speed, doses of the drug have already been purchased by the U.S. government and will be distributed at no cost to patients. Now, this treatment is being given under an emergency use authorization based on an early analysis of a phase 2 trial, meaning full approval will still require significant additional study. Nonetheless, Lilly is ramping up production and more doses will be coming in 2021 as well.
I'm still thinking about Bam Bam Leave a Lamb. What a name for that. You said it perfectly, but what a tongue twister. But I want to ask you seriously before you go. Given that the drug is only approved for high-risk individuals with specific conditions, how important do you really think it'll be?
Well, so it is true that people who would qualify for the drug are actually fairly precise. But if it works as hoped, it will probably prove very useful by actually helping keep those high-risk patients from getting worse and ending up in the hospital, especially at a time when hospital beds will frankly be filling up.
Yeah, as we see the numbers climb. Okay, Dr. McGeorge, thank you.
A second suspect arrested by Michigan State Police in connection with the death of Egypt Covington is released pending additional investigation. That comes after 34-year-old Timothy Eugene Moore was arraigned in connection with the crime on Sunday.
Time for a Local 4 News update now. A Detroit man is formally charged in the death of 19-year-old Darius Jones. 18-year-old Jaheim Weathersby was arraigned today at 36th District Court. Weathersby faces felony murder, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, and armed robbery charges. It's alleged that Weathersby robbed, then shot and killed Darius Jones back in June. His body was found in an abandoned home on Detroit's east side.
President-elect Joe Biden moving ahead with his transition today, though without the help of the federal government, as President Trump's team continues its efforts to challenge the results of the election. Biden says he's on track to hit the ground running anyway. Alice Barr in Washington with the latest. Alice?
Good evening. President-elect Biden said today it's hurting President Trump's legacy that he won't concede, while also vowing to pull the country out of bitter politics.
The Trump administration today putting up more roadblocks to the normal transition of power, while for the second day in a row, President-elect Biden addressed a divided nation.
My hope and expectation is that the American people do know and do understand that there has been a transition.
NBC News has learned Biden is not receiving the daily intelligence briefing traditionally given to an incoming president.
We're going to do exactly what we'd be doing if he had conceded and said we've won, which we have, and so there's nothing really changing.
President Trump again off camera but on Twitter making baseless allegations of widespread fraud. Top Republicans largely standing behind him.
Anyone who's running for office can exhaust concerns about counting in any court of appropriate jurisdiction.
And as world leaders congratulate President-elect Biden, the nation's top diplomat making this surprising remark.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
At the Trump Justice Department, a shakeup. The director of the Election Crimes Branch quit immediately after Attorney General William Barr authorized federal prosecutors to investigate if they find substantial allegations of fraud. But unlike the president, the Attorney General did not suggest any such evidence has been uncovered.
While Republicans tried again today to overturn Obamacare at the Supreme Court, President-elect Biden promised to build on the landmark law. In Washington, Alice Barr, Local 4.
All right, Alice, we're also seeing several Michigan names, by the way, popping up on the list of Biden transition team members. We'll have a closer look at those coming up on Local 4 News at 6. And speaking of that fight over the Affordable Care Act and the hearing today at the Supreme Court.
Jay Gray listened in on that and joins us now from outside the court. Hi, Jay.
Hey there, good evening. The atmosphere here much different today. There was no one inside the courtroom. Instead, the hearing was held by teleconference because of COVID-19. Still, the subject of the debate was very familiar.
With a handful of protesters gathering near the steps.
Oyez, oyez, oyez.
The U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments on the Affordable Care Act. At the center of the latest challenge, the individual mandate, ruled a tax by the High Court requiring Americans to either buy health insurance or pay a penalty until Congress zeroed out that tax in 2017. Now, since it raises no revenue, 18 Republican attorneys general, along with the Trump administration, argue the measure is unconstitutional.
It is a naked command to purchase health insurance, and as such, it falls outside Congress's enumerated powers.
Justice John Roberts at one point pushing back.
I think it's hard for you to argue that Congress intended the entire act to fall if the mandate were struck down when the same Congress that lowered the penalty to zero did not even try to repeal the rest of the act.
Echoing the argument of states defending the measure.
Now, there's no doubt that it's been controversial. And in 2017, Congress debated whether to keep it. But Congress ultimately chose to preserve every provision.
President-elect Biden, who worked as vice president to pass the measure, today reinforcing his support of the law.
Obamacare is a law that every American should be proud of. It's why people with pre-existing conditions are protected in this country.
This is the third Supreme Court challenge to the ACA, the first two failing by votes of 5-4 and 6-3.
The makeup of the court is much different now, though, with 3 Trump appointees, including the latest, Amy Coney Barrett. At the Supreme Court, I'm Jay Gray, Local 4.
All right, Jay, we are just getting started here at 5. Let's check in with Ben. What a day again.
Yeah, 4 in a row, guys. But this ridge of record warmth is sliding east and getting replaced by some real November. We're looking where we'll go in the rocky transition between next.
Some major developments here at the site of the Green Ooze investigation. We'll tell you what's being done and what impact it could have on those who live and work nearby. I'm Hank Winchester. Help me, Hank, tonight.
A 1-year-old is now in the hospital after being shot during a neighbor dispute over food.
And if she did it, why she did it of fear and trying to save her kids.
Coming up, we'll hear more of what the grandmother has to say about all this.